I promise you, I am not your stereotypical homeschooler. Well, at least anymore. I ditched my denim skirts and I learned how to take a bubble test in junior year, so you can calm down. No, but seriously, homeschool culture is one that not a lot of people experience. So today I'm going to talk to you about what my involvement in it has taught me over the years. Chiefly, the value of flexibility, the importance of creativity, and the need everyone has for a diverse connection. I'm going to start with flexibility. So, my life as a homeschooler didn't fit into the nice, neat compartments of an academic block schedule. Mama didn't require periods of her students, being myself and my younger brother Max. There were only 3 things that had to be done every day before we could start school, being our bed had to be made, our teeth had to be brushed, and we could not be in our pajamas. Mama was of the opinion that your body being in loungewear didn't have your brain in the gear for business. So every day after family Bible reading and prayer, the day was at my fingertips and I could do what I wanted with my schedule. I usually started with math to get it out of the way, but if I had some extra history definitions to memorize, I could work on those first. This was a luxury that my public school friends didn't have, who had PE, and then band, and then social science, in that order, every day, for a year. The downside of having a flexible schedule, though, is that there was never an excuse not to do school. Oh, you're sick? You can listen to the history textbook while you lie in bed then. And no weather phenomenon ever canceled my classes. I remember one particular time, my mom had scheduled a dentist appointment for the middle of the afternoon, but far be it from my mother to let a single hour go to waste. So while I got my pearly whites polished, she read out loud our historical novel for the week. The hygienist didn't have to make small talk, and I learned an important lesson that day. My idea about how things should go down is not the end-all be-all, and there are other ways to go about school than sitting at my desk. That revelation has carried into many other areas beyond just schoolwork, and I've learned to roll with the punches that life will throw. There are going to be a lot of them. It's just up to you how you move forward after them, and you have to be creative about it. This brings me to my second point, which is that my involvement in the homeschool culture instilled in me the importance of creativity. As I mentioned earlier, I have a younger brother named Max. You know from the words younger and brother in that sentence that the same approach to school didn't work for both of us. This is a disadvantage of formal education. You're dropped in a classroom with 30 other kids who all have different learning styles, and there's no way the teacher can cater to every one of those. You know how this goes. You know that time when you read a math problem in the textbook and it didn't make any sense at all, but when the teacher demonstrated it on the board, then it clicked with you? This happened to me when I was in middle school, learning how to divide and multiply fractions. I shed many a frustrated tear over my workbook, and so my mom decided it was time for me to bake a cake. She had me write out all the ingredients and their amounts, and then told me she only wanted me to make half of the recipe. So I had to apply my abstract math concept to a real-world situation, and I learned it. Plus, my art project for the week was counted when I decorated the cake. So being homeschooled taught me that there's never just one way to go about solving a problem. Ingenuity is not inherited, it is taught. And being homeschooled gave me a lot of opportunities to practice being creative. In addition to recognizing that creativity has a very big importance and also flexibility, being involved in the homeschool culture taught me that everyone has a need for diverse connection. When my family first moved here from a tiny mountain town in Colorado, we were starved for friendships and had to make a very intentional effort to reach out to people. The disadvantage of the K-12 system is that for 12 years, you're surrounded by people who are close to your same age. This is a generalization, of course, but it's basically true. You're in a classroom with people who are either 3 years on either side of you. But because when my family moved, we initiated the interaction, that means that I engaged with people from all walks of life. I grew up having conversations with the retired couples who had my family over for dinner. When we went to parties, I was the unofficial babysitter because I liked interacting with the little kids so much. And when I went to sock hops, I danced with high school graduates. There's a lot to be learned from people who are on either side of you age-wise. Wisdom from people who are older, knowledge about people who are younger, and I think you lose a lot when you're engaging with people who are strictly around your age. There's a lot to be learned when you can mentor and you can be mentored. Being homeschooled taught me to set aside the assumption that, oh, I won't have anything in common with you, and just engage. You're often really surprised at what you'll find. So you probably spaced out for just a little bit. I'll summarize for you and you can thank me later. I talked to you about how my involvement in the culture of homeschooling showed me the importance of flexibility, the value of creativity, and how important it is that everyone has diverse connections. I am now done with my homeschool days and I'm moving into the real world where I have more than one classmate. I get to take the experiences that homeschool culture instilled in me though and bring them into my formal education and also into the world beyond that when I'm a graduated adult. So, next time you meet a homeschooler, instead of asking them, do you get to play video games all day? Maybe inquire about their most recent science experiment. A can of Coke has a lot more uses than you may realize.